Hello, welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for week 2. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and alongside me is Coach Dunn, and you can see us live in HD, Technicolor, and everything like that. Apologize, last week there was a cable that was disconnected and was not found till many hours afterwards, and we apologize, and Coach and I both agree that my hair was still not TV ready, but you have to deal with it one more week, but apologies to everybody out there. Everything's fixed, and you'll be able to see us this week. And Coach, it's good to see you on TV for the first time this year.
Good to be back. I got a face for radio, so it wasn't all that bad last week.
Yeah, we should do a poll. Should we do the show only on audio or on video? But I think the video will win out. But Coach, we're in week 2 of the season. This past weekend was the first weekend of crossover play, and the schedule makers decreed that all the West teams would go East this week. And you guys had a long trip to Kutztown. We actually we're behind your buses on the turnpike on Friday, but that is a long trip. We only have a crew of 5. I can't imagine what it's like trying to organize a trip with almost 100 people.
Yeah, it's I would obviously rather be at home every week, but you got to play on the road. And I thought our guys handled the travel well. I thought the trip went as good as it could have. We left here early morning on, I guess that was Friday, mid-morning on Friday, and got out there and had a nice meal. So I thought the trip went and the travel went well. And
when you get to Kutztown, it was one of those weird fall days. We've been having some temperate weather, but wake up on Saturday and it's about 85 degrees, but the humidity was about 100%. Just a hot day, but a beautiful day for football.
Yeah, it was. It was warm, and unfortunately we had some colder practice days that led into it. So, but you got to play, and I thought we did a good job for the most part. We ended up getting some guys cramping up in the second half, and that hurt us a little bit. But obviously both teams played in the same conditions.
Well, coming out in the first half, it was back and forth 7-7, and then what seemed to be a staple of your team the last couple of years, just there's going to be a long drive at some point in the game, and towards the end of the first half, your team got the ball deep in your own territory, but were able to work the field and get a field goal to go up 10-7 at half.
Yeah, I really felt like we controlled the first half. I thought like we played good in all 3 phases. The score obviously before that drive was 7-7, and we knew it was going to be a tough ball game. Kutztown is extremely well coached, extremely talented, upperclassman-oriented team, but I really felt through the first 3 quarters we controlled the pace of the game. So that was a big drive for us. It was that point where, I think we had a 3rd and 10. Do you try and run the clock out, make them take a timeout, and punt it and give your defense less time? We called a timeout there, and I said, go get the first down. And I think we threw a big ball to Jaquay Jackson down the sideline, kind of got us rolling in our 2-minute drill. And then Anthony Biko comes out and kicks a field goal. So we felt good at the half. It was 10-7, and we really felt like we controlled the pace of the game.
And I feel remiss if I don't mention that what led to that long drive and getting the ball back was a big 4th and goal stop for your defense. Because Kutztown was inside. I think they had the ball at the 5 or 6 yard line and had a chance to go up 14-7 going at half. But your defense made a stop. Stripped the ball. Didn't matter because it was 4th down. But,
Sure.
Defense came up big in a couple key spots.
Yeah, we had a couple, good 4th down stops. We just got to be more consistent. I think, some of the errors, and give Kutztown credit, they made the plays and took advantage of some of the mistakes we made defensively and really offensively for that matter. It was a game where, we talked to our guys, we worry about ourselves, and we handle our business. And unfortunately, in some key moments, we had some missed assignments and some mistakes. And that's on coaching. We've got to coach them better to get them ready for those situations, and we've got to be more detailed oriented. But there was a couple key stops on 4th down there that it was just a good college football game all around.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I was also going to use the analogy. It was almost like a heavyweight fight because both teams come out in the 3rd quarter, heat of the day, and no punches were pulled. I mean, that was a physical 3rd quarter, both sides, and you go into the 4th quarter leading, but it could still make a couple of plays. But that, like you said, that back and forth in that 3rd quarter was just a title fight.
We came out after half, and we put a nice drive together, and we get down in the red zone. We're up, like you had said, we're up 10-7. We get down inside the 10-yard line, and unfortunately our quarterback catches a cramp in his calf. And, the heat got us at that moment. Our starting tailback, caught cramps. So, the most critical time we're inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line, and we're without our starting tailback and without our starting quarterback. Next guy's got to step make a play. We had an opportunity to score there. I thought if we went up 2 scores there, that's kind of a different deal. We end up settling for a field goal. So okay, we're still up 13-7. We got we're going into the fourth quarter. We just didn't execute in the fourth quarter. We had a lot of errors, and we got to do a better job coaching them. And that was kind of, defensively we had a couple missed assignments. Offensively, we come out and we get a delay of game, which is that's on me. And then we fumble a snap inside the 10. We had a big kickoff return that got us out to the 50-yard line, and we had a holding call on it. So now instead of starting at the 50-yard line, we're at the 10-yard line. It just seemed like anything that could have went wrong in that fourth quarter did.
Well, just back up a little bit on that drive where you kicked the field goal. I wanted to make a point. How nice is it to have a kicker like Anthony Beatco in there, because he made 2 clutch field goals, and as we saw this weekend in the NFL, field goals anymore are not a guaranteed thing, but he came out in 2, end of the first half, kicked a clock or a field goal as the time was expiring, and then in that situation, to go up 13-7.
Yeah, Anthony, we've got a ton of confidence in Anthony, and there was a couple situations in that game where I was debating whether kicking a field goal or going for it on fourth down. It was 47 yards. There was a little bit of wind in the one situation. We had a 4th and 3. I said, let's go for it, and it was about the 30-yard line. So it would have been a 47-yard field goal from the right hash. Unfortunately, we have a legal procedure. Now that backs us up. Now you're at a 52-yard field goal. So we still went for it, and we converted some big fourth downs. That one we weren't able to. We've got to be more disciplined in our approach to a 4th and 3 is a lot easier than 4th and 8. That's for sure.
Well, unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, Kutztown came ahead, got up 23-13 or 20. I think it was 23-13. But your team in the last 2 minutes did a great job of at least coming back, fighting, and scoring right before the buzzer. It didn't change the final score, but it showed a lot of fight in that last minute and a half.
we were up 6. They scored to go up 1. We had a couple opportunities and didn't take advantage of it. They ended up scoring again, so now we're down 8. Which we still got an opportunity. Let's go put a drive together. Let's go score, and we're going to go for 2. We had some open things and just didn't connect. But our kids are going to battle. We said, okay, we're down 10 right now. Let's go put a score together and let's get an onside kick. Unfortunately, we ran out of time.
And that end of the game, 23-19 was the final score. Some good performances on the field despite the loss. Noah Mitchell, 22 for 38, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. On the ground, your team combined for another 104 yards, and Jaquay Jackson, 7 for 110. And once again, you look at the receivers, you guys do a great job of spreading out the offense.
Yeah, I think we had some kids step up this week, and we had talked about that last week. Malik Langley had been battling a hamstring injury all through camp. And so we didn't play in the first week, but he really flashed to us. Eric Willis is another guy that continues to flash. Cam Terrence, Mr. Steady. I think Cam's been here for 8 years and does everything right. And we've got a couple other guys we think that are going to step up here in the next couple of weeks. We're battling some injuries at tailback right now, so hopefully we're a little bit healthier there this week than we were last week. But we are spreading the ball around, and I'm pleased with the direction the running game's going. We've got to continue to work on that. I thought we had some nice runs, and unfortunately on Saturday we got behind the chains with some penalties and a fumbled snap that kind of took the run game out of our hands in the fourth quarter, and we've got to be consistent in those things. And
on the other side of the ball, Coach, if my quick math is any indication, Noah Dillo, Matt Tobey, and Gabe Miller combined for 31 tackles and 3 behind the line. And for a good part of that game, once again, your defensive front 7 was in the backfield and also harassing quarterback for Kutztown all day. He was on the run a lot.
Yeah, I think we did a great job at times. We've got to be more consistent to our approach on defense. We've got to be making sure that we're following our roles and we're reading our keys and we're hitting our gaps. And I think when we do that, that performance is going to be even better. At times we played really well defensively. At other times we had some key breakdowns that cost us in the same offensively. Those are the things that we've got to work on and practice this week. We're going to be super demanding as a coaching staff and super detailed, and I think that we'll get better and we'll learn from this experience.
Well, let's take a look at the experience this past week and hear the highlights from Week 2's action on the road at Kutztown. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Mitchell gonna let it fly. Finds Jackson on the far side. He's gonna cut across midfield. Oh, gets the first down and then some. Mitchell drops back. lets it fly across the field, and it's picked off by Kutztown, but he's going to be brought down on by Willis. Quarterback sneak, and the ball comes out. The ball comes out. So 35-yard attempt, beat coast kick up, and it's good. The Vulcans take their first lead of the day. Kick is up, and good. Quarterback keeper, and the ball comes out. Oh, and it's going to be, he's stopped or covered by Blaine, but guess what? He stopped well behind the line of scrimmage. Blaine takes the snap, hand off to Davis McNeil, and he's going to get in an open lane and walk right in for the touchdown. .6:20 to go in regulation, and the Vulcans are going to bring the pressure. There goes the ball down the field, and it's caught by number 85. Looks for a man and lets it fly, and it's going to be a touchdown, Vulcans. Cam Tarrant on the catch.
More attractions. More fear. Survive the clowns in Twisted Nightmare 3D. Experience more scares than ever before. Haunted Hills Estate Scream Park returns September 9th. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Once again, I'm Gary Smith, joined by head coach Gary Dunn. And then, Coach, you know, the one thing consistent in life is time moves on and the calendar turns, and can't dwell on win, lose, or draw. You can't dwell on the week previously because you have another opponent this week, and it's another crossover matchup this time to a pretty good team down in Shepherd, West Virginia, the Shepherd Rams.
Yeah, super talented. I think they're ranked in the top 10 right now. Went to the Final Four of the national playoffs. Played extremely well at home. Well coached, explosive offense. Defense that flies around and creates a lot of turnovers. So it had been fun so far watching those guys. I think they've given up 14 points on the year and are averaging close to 50, scoring 50. So it's going to be a tough test. I'm not really concerned with Shepherd. I'm concerned with us. We've got to fix our mistakes and correct our mistakes, and I know our guys will get out of battle. Yeah,
it's one of the things about college football. You know, next team up, but always see. I think every coach in the country would like to say that the underdog role is where they want to be. You don't want to have the target on your back necessarily, but you can use that Rocky type mentality. And you know, like I said, your team has always responded to the challenges after a loss. And like I said, this is going to be a fun college football atmosphere down at Shepherd. They pack that stadium down there. Now I know you've watched a little bit of film, probably a lot more than a little bit of film in the last couple of days. But let's just break down both sides of the ball. First, for Shepherd on offense, we know they have the reigning Harlan Hill Trophy winner Tyler Badgett at quarterback, but what else do they do? Because not obviously, you can have the greatest player, but if you don't have 10 other guys stepping up, you're nobody.
They've got some really explosive receivers, and they've got a super good tailback that's running it really well right now. And I think it all really starts with their run game. They're a big RPO scheme. They're going to have a run-pass option with the tailback and the quarterback, and probably do it better than anybody we've seen. Sometimes they'll read a defender, or what in coaching we call putting a defender in conflict. Is he going to play the run, or is he going to play the pass? And they'll choose off of what he does. But they'll also RPO it where if he likes a matchup on a guy, he's just going to throw it. So super balanced offense. I think the kid ran for over 250 yards last week, and some really explosive receivers, and obviously a senior veteran quarterback leading the charge, and they're strong up front. There's really no weakness on their offense. They're putting a lot of points on their board. Their scheme's good. We've got to be detail-oriented and be in our right gaps and reading our keys, but we also got to tackle well. I think that's one thing that, one takeaway from Saturday, we had some opportunities to make tackles, and we missed tackles. Against this team, if you miss tackles, it's going to be a big play.
And on the other side of the ball, Coach, what do they bring defensively? What kind of fronts, and what can we look at for the Vulcans when they're on offense?
Yeah, it really starts up front for them. I think their front four is as good as anybody we've played. They're a base four down front. They'll play basically a 4-2-5, four down front, two backers, and really a kind of hybrid backer safety type guy. Starting a two high shell, two high safeties, and mix their coverages up. We'll blitz a little bit, probably not as much as Kutztown did last week. They'll bring pressure, but they really don't have to blitz. I think the key for them in their pass defense is their two defensive ends are really good football players. They're both quick. Usually you can prepare when you've got one defensive end that's the best pass rusher. Unfortunately, this week they've got number 9 on one side, number 11 on the other side, and they're both really, really good pass rushers. So we've got to match up with those guys and do a good job in pass protection, and we've got to control the football.
And that game will be noon on Saturday, Shepherdtown, West Virginia. And Coach, I mentioned a little bit earlier about they usually pack the stadium, but I neglected to mention Kutztown. Your team is traveling well with the fans. I looked over at one point about 15 minutes before the game. And I'm like, is this Adamson Stadium East, because it was all red and black over there.
I tell you, it was impressive. Obviously our families travel extremely well, and rightfully so. But we had a lot of alumni there. It was kind of a nice day for me. I had two of my good friends that live out east, one in Philadelphia, one in New York, that made it over to the game. And then I've had a bunch of teammates that were there that I haven't seen since we played together. Tracy Latham was a corner from the Harrisburg area, was there. Quinn Durrett was a young buck when I was playing. So it was good to see those guys. Scott Aquilino, a good friend of mine from New York, and John DeFrugio from Philadelphia. When we go on the road, Cal U football's special. And I know it's been 30 years. I had a great talk with some of those guys about, now I got to get you. I appreciate you coming to see us while we're out east. Now I got to get you back to campus for golf outings and things that we do and homecoming. And, I think they're excited to get back.
Oh my goodness, if it's been that long, it's going to be like a stepping into Oz, because the Adamson Stadium has changed a lot since the time you played.
Well, that and campus. When I first got hired 7 years ago, I brought a bunch of alumni back to campus, and they couldn't believe the difference in campus. They asked where Long Necker Hall was and where was the parking lot next to Hamer with the new convocation center. And obviously the student center is totally different. So, it'll be good to get those guys back for homecoming. And
before we get homecoming, we're on the road this Saturday, so make sure to come on out. Like I said, when I was traveling, we were traveling out. I mean, I saw, other than your team, I saw a lot of fans with the Vulcan logos. When we got to Kutztown, our hotel, people were chanting "Go Vulcans" because they saw the Vulcan logo. So that's just nice to see. So make sure to come on out. It's not a bad trip. Me and Coach were just saying it's under 3 hours. So get up early, get some breakfast on I-68, and come on out. But quickly, before we put a bow on the week, I'm going to just go through a couple of the scores from this past weekend's action in the PSAC. Gannon at Millersville. Gannon walked away with a 16-10 win. Slippery Rock traveling to Westchester wins 35-14. Shepherd, this week's opponent, beat Edinburgh 41-7. Shippensburg held serve against Seton Hill 36-17. Bloomsburg over Clarion 42-3, and then Mercyhurst over Lock Haven. And then, Coach, once again, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's the second weekend of crossover play for the PSAC, and some of the highlighted games for this week would be, and then this one is not all in the East. There's some back and forth. So Kutztown's traveling to Mercyhurst, East Stroudsburg's traveling to Seton Hill, Slippery Rock will be traveling to Millersville, IUP at Ship, and then Clarion at Lock Haven. So there's a full slate of games right there, and conference play, even if it's crossover play, is special.
Yeah, absolutely. I say it every year. I love the PSAC because it's all regional rivalry games. It's not, West Virginia playing Kansas or Pitt playing, somebody from the ACC. It's all regional rivalries. A lot of these kids went to high school together. A lot of them played against each other in high school. So it's nice, and it's going to be a good week of PSAC football.
So make sure to come on out to Shepherdtown, West Virginia this Saturday. The media plan is we will be there this past weekend. If you try to watch our stream, we got throttled by our Verizon Jetpack, so hopefully all the phone calls, emails, tweets, letters, cards, and everything to Verizon will get that resolved. They won't throttle us back. And you can watch the game on CUTV Sports 1 and the PSAC network, and also listen to 91.9 FM Power 92. But once again, the surefire, the best way to seeing the game live is to drive to Shepherdtown, West Virginia. Like I said, me and Coach said, I think we said 241. I think if you really hustle, 235, and that's getting a breakfast bagel somewhere in Lavelle, Maryland.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, thanks for being here this week.
Appreciate it.
Good luck this week. Safe travels, and we see everybody next week on The Gary Dunn Show.